Tractate Yoma, the entire tractate, dealing with one single day, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. One may ask, how come full Masechet, so many chapters, so much discussion over one day? The late Rabbi Dessler, in the book called Michtav Me'Eliyahu, explains that on Yom Kippur in particular, the Satan, the best called the Satan, have a big business. He tried very hard to somehow makes things worse, or makes things in a way that the performance of services will not be according to the way it should be. What we're going to study in this fascinating daf, there are several stories that are very well known. Those stories involve with explanations what Yom הכיפורים does not only to the nation of Israel but to the whole world. And that's the key reason why we have a full Masechet over that. You see how so many nuances and so many situations happen while that day was planned and that day involved with performance of the mitzvot involved with Yom Kippurim. So we're on page 35. In a Mishnah we studied yesterday, we learned a special occasion in Beit HaMikdash, in the Holy Temple, called Beit HaParva. The Gemarrah asks, "My Parva." What exactly the meaning of the name Parva? Amar Rav Yosef, Parva Amgusha. Rav Yosef said that Parva is the name of Persian sorcerer. So what does that mean? Why do we have to put the name of Persian sorcerer with the chamber to in Beit HaMikdash? Rashi said, Mechashef echad na'a ushmo parva. Rashi said simply, it's named after this sorcerer. Now, Tosfot tells us,
Rabbi, just very quickly, so then we're referring to the second temple.
Yeah, but
Is that saying there was no Parva chamber in the first temple?
Excellent point. The way I understand it in my very best, it can go to the first one. I do not know. It's a good question. I don't know.
Just because, I mean, when the first temple was built, there were no Persians. That's why
I don't know. I assume you're right that is the second temple. I assume you're right.
Right.
But anyway, I'll check it. So Tosfot said, פירש בערוך וזה לשונו, יש מן החכמים שאומרים כי חפר מחילה תחת הקרקע בקודש עד שיראה עבודת כהן גדול והרגישו הכהנים בחפירה ומצאו וקרא אותה לשכה על שמו. Wow. Tosfot tells us, the name of Aruch, the name of a book, that he built underground a tunnel in order to see the service of the high priest in Yom Kippurim. So you can go two directions. One way is the way that the Rambam add to that Aruch, and the Rambam add the word Vaharagu, that he was killed. Or you go by the Meiri, who said that he was a penitent, was Baal Tshuva. Tosfot Yom Tov said that he built a pipe system which no one understand how was able to have the water come up from the ground. In other words, the water system was underground and he was able to build it in a way that served upstairs, so it looks like a sorcerer. That's Tosfot Yom Tov. There is a book, fascinating book, called Siftei Chaim. It's 3 volumes ala moadim, on festivals. So he brought a famous story that we study about Rabbi Lazar ben Dordai. Rabbi Lazar ben Dordai, if you remember, we studied that Gemarrah. It was a fellow that was idolater, that he did, it wasn't the Gemarrah described, you know, the language of the Gemarrah, that he never reached a woman that he couldn't have relation with. And one time it was a faraway woman that she charged him 400 dinar, etc., and he traveled long distance, etc. And while they have whatever their relation, she have a fraud, and then she said to him, you see that? The same is you. You have no hope. The same as this, you have no hope. That's what she said to him. So when he left, suddenly that woman just put something in his brain. And he realized, so the Gemarrah said he stood between two mountains. I just give you the abbreviation. And he cried a lot, and he died. And at that time, Rabbi said, Yesh koneh olamo b'sha'ah achad. It's a person that conquered the world to come as a sincere penitent in one time, in 1 hour. Now, so why we call him Rabbi Lazar ben Dordai? Why is Rabbi? What does the Rabbi has to do? So he explained in that book, Siftei Chaim, that this is from one generation to the next, which means anyone who's a sinner, think that he or she has no hope, they can see an example of this Talmudic story. So therefore, he has his students that come out, each generation learn from his story. And as a result, anyone who think that way, so in a way we already call him that name, Rabbi, but another avenue that try to say is Beta Parva, it's like a person who taking chances should know that it may cost his life. So Beit Parva, meaning if someone take a chance and endanger himself, he can die from that. That's another way to see it. Anyway, the Ritva said that it was in order to distribute the idea that the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, entered lifnei velifnim, entered to the deep chamber. Anyway, you see many avenues why it's called by that name. The Mishnah said Persu Sadin Shel Boots. The Mishnah explained that they spread a sheet of fine linen between the Kohen Gadol and people. It's like partition. Ma'ishna Shel Boots. Why they use this material? Amar Kahana Kedei Sheyakir she'avodat hayom bebigdei boots. Rav Kahana said that the reason is because they want to make sure that the Kohen Gadol will be aware and remember that the service of the day is performed in fine linen. So some ask a question, come on, why? The Kohen Gadol doesn't know that that's the proper... So I heard an explanation once that, as we said earlier, that the Satan work hard on Yom Kippur. He try to make, it's like so many times it happens, you prepare a big simcha, you prepare a wedding, and everyone's ready, and all of a sudden there is a, fight over stupid things. Who gets the honor? Who gets the first one? Who walks first and second in the aisle? I saw it in a funeral, I saw it in weddings. Which limo go first? Who's go first on the aisle? Right? Who gets the blessings? Which is the rabbi is going to honor first? Who is second? Right? Who is going to sit at the first row? So you see this all from the other side, which we call Satan. That's he works extra hard. So the rabbi said that he tries so hard that things will not happen in the way that we wish to. So that's one of the reasons why you have a full tractate of Yoma dealing with this. So even it reached a point that we need to have the Kohen Gadol to be aware and remember that the service of the day is performed with the fine linen. בשחר היה לובש פלוסין של 18 מנה, ובין הארבעים היה לובש הנידויים של 12 מנה. So the Mishnah said that he used a garment that worth 18 mane in the morning, afternoon 12, altogether 30. ותנא מניין העתה להשמועינן. The Mishnah need to teach us basic math. The 12 plus 18 is 30. הקמש מלן, no, it's a reason. דבציר מהנה לא נעבד. That you cannot do the two sets of the white linen less than 30 mane. It's a certain decorum, certain setup, respectful, and has to be a certain amount involved with it. Habatzir mehen vetafeahane leidlan ba. But if he made the morning less value, in other words, less than 18 mane, and by the same token he keeps the number 30, but he adds to the other time, so it's fine, as long as it's not less than 30 mane. Now, why 30 mane? We said that that's halakha leMoshe miSinai. That's tradition that we believe we received earlier from Moshe Rabbeinu, one generation to the next. Dekule alma mihat de shachar adif. But it's important to note that the morning is the most important part. So in other words, regardless what's the amount, instead of 1812 you can go a different number, as long as the morning garments are more, cost more than the other, the afternoon. Menalan, how do you know it? Amar Rav Kahana Brei de Rav Ilai, Amar Kra Bad, Vad, Bad, Bad. We have 4 times the word Bad, linen, in the Torah. This is in the book of Vayikra, Leviticus chapter 16. Why they need to repeat that word 4 times? So Rashi explains, because it's repeated tot arba'a zimnei k'tib belvishat bigdei shacharit lemeimar dehave bad bad hamuvchar bebad. It has to be the best, and in the morning it has to be the top. Now, Rabbeinu Yehonatan and Meiri said that bedi avad, after the fact, it's okay if it's not. But lechatchila, the way that it should be done, it should be that way. 35b, מייטיבי, ולבשו בגדים אחרים, ולא יקדשו את העם בבגדיהם. The book of Yechezkel, chapter 44, describe the service of the Kohen Gadol in Yom Kippurim. If you remember, one time we explained that it was a special rabbi that dedicated his life to explain all the appear contradictions between book of Ezekiel and the book of Leviticus. But here it's written about the Kohanim Gdolim, the high priests, and they shall put on their garments, on that they do not sanctify the people with their garment. So since they use the word acherim, other, what does that mean? Ma'alav acherim chashuvim mehem, which means that the garments of the afternoon needs to be more important than the morning, which is the opposite of what we said. Acherim, others, it means it's not the same. So why we talk about, Rashi said, why we need to say that they have to be more expensive? The Gemarrah said, no, acherim pchutim mehem, which means that the afternoon has to be less valued than the morning. Why? Since the first work is performed in order to atone for sins, so that's considering more important than the work in the afternoon. Why? Because the afternoon is a special garment in honor of this Holy of Holy place that he needs to take out those utensils. So therefore, we are very clear that the afternoon it's less important. Just the obligation, Rashi said, of the Kohen Gadol to take it out. So, תנא רבונה בר יהודה ואמר לה רב שמואל בר יהודה, אחר שקלטה עבודת ציבור, כהן שעשתה לו עמו כותונת לובשה ועובד בעבודה יחיד ובעל שימסרן על הציבור. So, after all said and done, all the work in atonement of the public, so it happens sometimes that the mother, the Jewish mother, right, she made for a beautiful son a special garment to wear for Yom Kippur together with the white garments. So avodat yachid, individual work, which is pulling out that garment, that vessels, that part is okay to wear with one condition. What's the condition? That he needs to hand it over when he's done to public, which means others, not only himself, others, Meiri said, can use it. The source for that, Tosfot Yeshanim, said that it's Bigdei Kodesh Hem. The Torah said in Leviticus 16 that these garments carry sanctity. So the Gemara asked, Pshita, that's obvious. So they said that if you give it to public, everyone can walk with that. All the other Kohanim. You may think that the Kohen needs to give it to others. He will not have his full heart with this. Kamash Melan, believe that he does that he, Kohen Gadol, is involved with the Torah laws and he knows what's right, and therefore he gave it, Tosfot explained, with a full heart. But it's important to note, Tosfot Yeshanim said that that's apply only to a single work, even by other Kohanim, and not for public needs. Amru alav Rabbi Ishmael ben Pabi, it was the name of one of the Kohanim Gdolim, Rabbi Yoelakim said, שעשתה לו עמו כתונת של 100 מנה. His mother made for him this type of garments worth 100 מנה. ולובשה ועובד בעבודת יחיד. So, as we said, that the morning is important. So, he wore it and did a single walk. ומסרה לציבור. So, how he did it? He first contributed that garment to public, and then, and only then, he walks, he uses it. אמרו עליו על רבי אלעזר בן חרסום, is another name of כהן גדול, שעשתה לו עמו כתונת משתי ריבו, ולא הניחו אחיו הכהנים ללובשה מפני שנראה כערום. Wow. That his mother made for him extremely expensive. They used the 20,000 maneh. It's a lot of money. And his brethren did not let him wear it, good morning, because he looks naked. So it may say that because most probably it was a very high quality garment. But umi mitchaze, you're going to tell me that they can see the Kohen Gadol flash toward this clothing, toward this garment? Ve'amar mar, we learn in page 71, chutan kaful shisha. So we learn the thread of the priestly vestments were sixfold. Since the clothes were woven from the threads that thick, his body could not have been through them. So how that happened? אמר אביי, כחמרה במזגה. It was not that they see him clearly, they said that it is like wine in a thick glass cup. So he said his flesh could not actually be seen, but since it was very fine linen, it was somewhat looks his skin color and discernible. So it's somehow you see it to that. Anyway, Rashi said that in those days they have a different quality of glasses. Anyway, while we talk about Rabbi Lazar ben Charsom, now we're going to learn a very important lesson. Tanu Rabbanan, Ani ve'ashir ve'rasha ba'in ladin. Now we're talking about afterlife, that a person of great wealth and the poor person and the wicked person, wicked meaning someone who falls into the trap of his evil inclination, they come before the heavenly court. And what's the heavenly court? So we explained many times that the first question they're going to ask a person when he completed the life in this world, they're going to ask him, Asakta b'Torah, did you engage in a daily Torah study? That's what we believe is going to be the first question. So here you have three characters: a poor person, a rich person, and someone who falls the trap of his Yetzer Hara, because in the morning, instead of learning Daf Yomi, he watched the news, right? I'm joking. So, okay. Le'ani omrim lo, so the poor person, they said, Mipnei ma lo asakta b'Torah. Why you didn't engage in studying Torah? So, Rashi tells us, it's a very interesting Rashi here. He said, Le'ani omrim lo, let's see it here. I want to read to you something. כלומר, אם באו בית דין של מעלה לחייב עניים על ידי הלל ועשירים על ידי רבי אלעזר וטרודה יצאו על ידי יוסף, יש פתחון פה לבעל הדין לחייבם. Which means that I explained in my book, ביאורי הכלומר ברש"י על הש"ס, that we shouldn't feel that that's the exact decorum of the trial in the heavenly court. It's not necessarily that way. For sure they ask that question first, but it's just to get to the mindset that basically the first point they're going after a person is the question if he involved in study Torah. In other words, that's the point of obligation, the point of they go after a person. That's what Rashi meant. Anyway, so he said, Im omer ani הייתי וטרוד במזונותיי, if he said, come on, I was a poor person and I was busy making a living. So I was busy making a living, I didn't have a time to study Torah. אומרים לו, כלום אני היית יותר מהלל. Hillel was at that time the example of the poverty. Was an extremely poor person. You go nowadays, by the way, to the people who are the giant of our generation in Israel. You see they're living in the most modest way. Many of them are really poor. And they are, the giant of giant in Torah. So Hillel is a good example. Here is a story, famous story. אמרו עליו על הלל הזקן שבכל יום ויום היה עושה ומסתפק בתרפיק. So he was working a simple daily job. He didn't want to make a living toward Torah. So he gained a trapik, which is a minimum amount of salary. חציו היה נותן לשומר בית המדרש וחציו לפרנסתו לפרנסתו של ביתו. So at that time they have the house of study a guard that charge you to get in. either because of the idea that people who not belong there, or because it's in a dangerous location. It's several reasons why they need a guard at the entrance. And that guard charge, minimum, you give him something. So let's say he makes a daily, just for the example, $10 a day. So $5 you need to give to the guy at the entrance of that building. פעם אחת לא מצא להסתכר ולא הניחו שומר בית המדרש להיכנס. So one time he couldn't make a living that day. They must probably get paid daily, those work. And the guard at the entrance did not let him in. So what did he do? עלה ונתלה וישב על פי הערובה כדי שישמע דברי אלוהים חיים מפי שמעיה ואבטליון. Guess what he do? He went at the top of the roof, where is the chimney, and he sit there and put his ear up to hear what Shmaya and Avtalion, Shmaya was the president and Avtalion was the head of the rabbinic court, what they are discussing the word of Torah. That's amazing, huh? Amazing devotion. אמרו אותו היום ערב שבת היה ותקופת טבת הייתה. This is exactly the month we are, right? The month of Tevet, and it was Friday. וירד עליו שלג מן השמיים, and all of a sudden you all facing that, like ice and snow. So all of a sudden snow came in and covered his body. So the Ben Yoyada said, why do they need to say that the snow came from heaven? So they said that day wasn't so cold. It was not. But from heaven, because otherwise a person should not endanger himself. But they said that it was a special divine providence that caused that snow to fall, not natural, in order to promulgate his love of Torah. That's what, and Hillel was so occupied with Torah, he didn't realize that. That's, not everyone goes with that. Yun Yaakov said it was a real cold day and he did it just as is, literally. Anyway, Kshala Amud HaShachar, so in other words, he listened to them all night. And in the morning, when there's a dawn, so they have the idea that they study the secret of Torah during the night, especially the second part of the night, and he wants to listen to all of that. So when the dawn came in, when it started early in the morning, אמר לו שמעיה לאבטליון, אבטליון אחי, בכל היום הבית מאיר והיום אפל. Every day we use the sky. In those days it wasn't electricity, right? So use the sky to have the light, and all of a sudden it's dark. Shema Yoma Meunanu. So he said maybe today it's a very dark day. Hetzitzu benehem. So they lift up their eyes, and all of a sudden v'ra'u dmut adam ba'aruba, and they saw a human body in a chimney, in the top of the ceiling. So alu umtzau alav rum shalosh amot shelek. They went up, and they see, what did they say shalosh amot in your English part?
Well, 3 amot high, which would be that's like what, 4.5 feet of snow?
4.5 feet of snow. A lot of snow. A lot of snow. פרקוהו והרחיצו ושחו בשמן. So they take off all the snow from him and anointed him. So basically, if it's a saving life, you're allowed to desecrate Shabbat. And they said, אמרו עליו, רואי זה לחלל עליו את השבת. So there's a few avenues. One said that deserve a case like that to desecrate Shabbat, or a person like that endanger himself. So others said that he did it only in devotion to Torah. So he so occupied with the study that he didn't realize that the snow is covering him. So in other words, the big debate is if he allowed to do it at the first place, and if it was right for him to do it. But what we wrap up from that story is the idea that even a poor person like Hillel did what he did as a devotion for Torah. So a person said, I need to make a living is not an excuse to study every day. The other way around, Ashir, how about a wealthy person? If a wealthy person come before the heavenly court, אומרים לו, מפני לא עסקת בתורה, or how come you didn't engage in study of Torah? אם אומר עשיר הייתי, if he said, look, I was wealthy, and guess what I did? I support other people who study Torah, so therefore I'm exempt from study myself. Do you know that feeling? You have people like that, right? וטרוד הייתי מנכסיי, I was so busy. I have stocks and I have real estate, I have this and that. I was very busy with my business and I didn't have the peace in mind to go and study. אומרים לו, כלום עשיר היית יותר מרבי אלעזר בן חרסום. You are richer than אלעזר, רבי אלעזר בן חרסום. That's the name of the rabbi we just mentioned. That with all of his businesses and wealth, look what happened to him. אמרו עליו על רבי אלעזר בן חרסום, שהניח לו אביו 1,000 עיירות ביבשה וכנגדן 1,000 ספינות בים. You should know that Talmud use sometimes a language of exaggeration. It means that many. They don't want to go to the specifics. So they said thousands villages and 1,000 boats. But it means a tremendous wealth. So what happened to these type of people sometimes? They figure out what we inherited is not enough. We need to enlarge the business. Correct? To make it international and go to all over the world, to Panama, to China, right? And to increase the businesses. So his father left him so much. ובכל יום ויום היה נוטל נוד של קמח על כתפו, מהלך מעיר לעיר מדינה למדינה ללמוד תורה. He takes a little pocket of flour, or whatever he needs, basic some food, just for survival, the Maharsha said, something just basic, and he went from one place to another, whatever they have a place. They have some Beit Midrash, place of study Torah, he entered. So that happened before he became the Kohen Gadol. פעם אחת מצאו עבדיו ועשו בו אנרגיה. One time, because he didn't recognize him, he went to a village and his own employee drafted him to do some work for the minister. אמר להם, בבקשה ממכם, הניחו לי ואלך ללמוד תורה. Leave me alone, I want to go and study Torah. He didn't want to tell them that he is their owner, because he figured out it will take a long time and he waste time, Maharsha said, instead of study Torah. אמרו לו, חיי רבי אלעזר בן חרסום שאין מניחים אותך. So they said, they take a vow of his name, that will not let you go. ומימיו לא הלך וראה אותם. So it means from that means that he never knew his employees. אלא יושב בעסק בתורה כל היום וכל הלילה. Which means that he never involved with the people, with what's going on, etc. He was totally devoted to one thing, to study Torah. So it showed the other way around, that can happen to a person who is very wealthy. Because as we know, we said it every single day, that Hashem can take at any moment anything from everyone. It's a famous story about the fellow that went to Chafetz Chaim, and he said, look, Rabbi, I heard about God's giving, God taking, but guess what? It's very unlikely it happened to me, because I have money in Switzerland, and I have money in Luxembourg, and I have money in Singapore, I have money all over. So how that can happen? So the Chafetz Chaim said, it's very simple, God can take your life away. And that's it. So how I get rid of his money? It's very simple. Anyway, Rasha, how about if a person is wicked, he falls the trap of his evil inclination, אומרים לו, מפני מה לא עסקת בתורה? Why you didn't occupy yourself with Torah? So he said, אם אומר נאה הייתי וטרוד ביצרי, if he said that I was very occupied with my evil inclination, which means I spent a lot of time with the ladies and beautify myself, etc. אומרים לו, כלום נאה היית מיוסף. You are beauty more than Joseph. Why? אמרו עליו על יוסף הצדיק, they said about biblical Joseph, when he was walking at the Potiphar house, remember we read it 2 weeks ago, בכל יום ויום הייתה אשת פוטיפר משדלתו בדברים. Every single day, the married woman, the Potiphar's wife, tried to seduce him. בגדים שלבשה לו שחרית, לא לבשה ערבית. בגדים שלבשה ערבית, לא לבשה שחרית. Which means that the Marsha derived from the Pasuk in Bereshit 39, that she every single day tried to wear different garments, in the morning, evening, different garment, tried to get his attention, etc. אמרה לו, היא שמעה לי. She tried to seduce him. אמר לה לאב, he said no. Then she threatened him. אמרה לו, הריני חובשתך בבית האסורים. If you refused, I'll put you in a jail. אמר לה, he said, which we know from the book of Psalms 146, Hashem matir asurim, the Almighty released the prisoners. אמרה לו, so she said to him, הריני כופף את קומתך. She said, I'll make sure that you'll bend by the torturers, etc. He said, Hashem zokef kufim, God is the one who can make things happen. הריני מסמא את עיניך. She said that I caused you to be blind. He said, in other words, she threatened him. He said, Hashem pokeach ivrim. God has opened the eyes. So when she realized that all of her threat not influence him, so she tried to seduce him with money. נתנה לו 1,000 כיכרי כסף לשמוע אליה, לשכב אצלה להיות עמה. So in other words, since he is a servant, a slave, so she tried to give him money in order to be with her. ולא רצה לשמוע אליה, he didn't want to listen to her, לשכב אצלה בעולם הזה, להיות with her in this transient life, in order להיות עמה לעולם הבא, to reach the, how do you say it, hell, the Gehinnom, in the world to come. So the Rabbi tells us that the reason Yosef reached the highest level of being a viceroy king was measure for measure, because he was able to withstand the temptation and subjugate his evil inclination. He reached that point. So this is another example of people who fall to the trap of their evil inclination. Nimtza. What's the conclusion? Hillel mechayev et ha'aniyim. When Hillel, he's the one who is a role model for poor people. So a poor person cannot have any excuses. Rabbi Lazar ben Charsom mechayev et ha'ashirim. So Lazar ben Charsom is the one who is a role model for the wealthy, that they cannot have an excuse. Yosef mechayev et hareshaim. And Yosef is the one who is the role model for the wicked. So you see here, the Rabbi said, the Rif said, that is a reason that the poor, relatively, it's a lenient judgment, because eventually he is poor. You know, he needs to do something to support himself. And then the rich, and then the person who falls in a trap. In other words, that's the lowest level. Now, we're back in the Mishnah. The Mishnah speaks about the walk, the special walk on the Day of Atonement. So the Mishnah began with the first confession that the Kohen Gadol expresses over his own personal sins. So if you remember, we discussed several times that was a process took place. The first one was a personal. He brings a sin offering and he confesses for himself and for his household. And then it goes further for the community, for Israel, for nations, etc. So he wore this beautiful linen garment and he sanctified his hand and feet. Balo etzel paro. So now the Kohen Gadol comes and stands next to his bull, which is the sin offering, the bull that needs to be for the sin offering. So it's important to note that that one needs to be his own money, not something that for public, because that's atoned for his personal needs, himself, his household, etc. So that's it's a different disputation what exactly atoned for whom. But anyway, that bull, he stands, ופרעה היה עומד בין העולם למזבח, ראשו לדרום ופניו למערב. His bull was standing between the entrance hall and the altar, with his head facing to the south and its face to the west. Now, והכהן עומד במזרח ופניו למערב, וסומך שתי ידיו עליו ומתוודה. So the Kohen stands to the east of the bull, and his face points to the west, and the Kohen places his two hands on the bull and confesses. וכך היה אומר, and that's something that you remember that we use on Yom Kippur service. Ana Hashem. We use the word Hashem, but that's applied to the full holy name that we don't pronounce, and only he can say it at that time. Aviti, Pashati, Chatati lefanecha ani ubeiti. There are several options how he said it. There is a book by Rabbi Jacobson that explains why it's in this order. But anyway, in the Mishnah they put Aviti first. I have seen, I've done wrong, I have rebelled before you, I and my household. So in other words, he expressed this confession for himself, for his wife, for his family, word of atonement, word of confession. Ana Hashem, please Almighty, kaperna aton לעוונות ולפשעים ולחטאים שאביתי ושפשעתי ושחטאתי לפניך אני וביתי. Please atone for all the sins that I have seen before you, myself and my family. And he go to the specifics, he go to the different form of sins. ככתוב בתורת משה עבדך, as it's written in the Torah, and there is explanation why he used the term Moshe Avdecha, Moses your servant. Leviticus 16, כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לתאר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני השם תתארו. For this day atonement shall be made for you to cleanse you of all your sins. You shall be clean before the Lord. והן, so all the Kohanim and the people who are in the courtyard respond to that, and they said, when they hear the Holy of Holies name pronounced from the Kohen Gadol, so he himself is not bowed down at that time. But they all, when they hear the name of the Holy of Holies, onim acharav, they respond right away. They said, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto Leolam Vaed, blessed be the name of the highest glorious, his glorious kingdom forever and all time. And that they do each and every 3 times that he expresses doing his confession. So there is 2 options. There is a way that we read the Mishnah. The Rambam put it differently, the way we have it in the Sidurim, that at that time they all bow down, they prostrate themselves on the ground. The Yerushalmi said that only those who are close to the Kohen Gadol does that, but those who are far away just said Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto. But the key is that those people who heard the name of Hashem, the full name for real from him, so they did it. In other words, they want to express their awe of amazement to Almighty, etc., etc. There are some rabbis that say that when he said it the 3rd time, he said it in a long melody, Baruch Shem, and that was a special on Yom Kippur. In other words, during the year, all year round, we say it silently. That's the Gemarrah said in Pesachim 56. But in Yom Kippur, they said it out loud. The reason is the same as the angel does all the year round, that when they praise God, they do that, and we, considering quote unquote like in angels, the way that we wear the white garments, the way that we behave, we're not eating, we're not drinking, etc. So in that sense, we are like them, and that's the reason they use it. But the Torah and Tafresh Yutet elaborate on that. Ani ve'ashir. This is Rambam, Hilchot Talmud Torah, chapter 1. All the people, poor and wealthy, ill and healthy, all are obligated to study Torah. Even the poor who depend on charity to survive must devote time to study Torah. We learn it from this Gemara. Also, the Rambam, Hilchot Klei HaMikdash, chapter 8, said, Mitnadev mishelo umoser latzibur. All the priestly garments are communal property. An individual is permitted to donate his own priestly garments to the community, but the Kesef Mishneh said that this halacha is attributed to the Gemarrah here. The Lechem Mishneh said that attributed to the Jerusalem Talmud, but the key is it's belonged to a public after that. Balo etzel paro. So we said in the Mishnah, and that's a Rambam Sefer Avodah Hilchot Avodat Yom Kippurim chapter 4, based on this Mishnah. The Kohen Gadol sanctified his hand and his feet, removes his golden garments, immerses and dons his white linen's garment. He sanctifies his hand and his feet and comes to his bull, which stood between the entrance hall and the altar. The bull's head is to the south, with his face turned west. The Kohen Gadol placed his hand on the bull and recited his confession. Please, Almighty God, I have sinned, I have done wrong, and I have rebelled before you, as described in the Mishnah.